Welcome, everyone. It is episode 34 of Not In, All In. We're Kirk Buchner, and today, Chris Mouradian, we are going to discuss the things that are sort of on our mind in the sports world, and we're a lot more ethical than a Somalian daycare center.
We can spell learning.
We can spell, oh my God. Who do you think stole more from a state? The Somalian Pirates or Brett Favre?
Probably the Pirates. Brett didn't get up in the billions.
Didn't he?
No, not quite. Not with the only couple of years there in Minnesota.
Well, Brett can just say it was the CTE. He did. I don't know.
Yeah, the Pirates had many more years.
My God, that's a fascinating story. People wonder why I'm a centrist. But anyway, let's move on. Although I think actually, I'm not going to move on. That's a great gift. That's a great grift. I hate kids. I'm terrible with kids. One of the deals that I sort of had when I was back in the dating pool in my late 20s, early 30s, knowing that whoever I found to marry didn't want to have any maternal instinct. And I found that. I mean, it's a dog, and that's hard enough as it is. But they found a way to get paid to watch kids without having to deal with kids. It's brilliant. I am in awe. I really am.
Yeah, they found a loophole for a while.
They did. Well, they'll probably still be allowed to do it, but that's another. This is not a political show.
No, we're talking sports.
We're talking sports. And before we went on, I was noticing, and right now they're tied. I'm talking about my beloved Winnipeg Jets, who are tied for last with the Chicago Blackhawks as of this recording. Last year, they won the President's Trophy, which I said was worthless. I think if you go from first to last in a 32-team league, and you didn't actually try to, it's not like you're the Miami Marlins after you won something big and then you just dismantle the team. I think that you have to publicly burn that President's Trophy. Maybe do it anyway.
Return it. Get it out of the building there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's you don't put. Why do you put a banner of something that the players don't even want to touch? Wait a minute. Who did touch it? Who's the bad luck there? We'll have to look at the footage. Somebody must have touched it.
Usually it's the captain, so start there.
Oh, we'll have to do an investigation on that. Much like the NFL might be doing an investigation, we have two topics. We're going to talk about the Pro Football Hall of Fame, but before that, I wanted to talk about tanking. And Maxx Crosby of the Las Vegas Raiders was asked recently by a reporter. I don't know which reporter because he wasn't on screen, but it was basically about the Raiders getting the number one pick next year. The Raiders, for those who haven't been paying attention, basically need a quarterback. Geno Smith ain't it. He had his one good year, and they can't replicate the magic. He's 35. He can certainly still be a backup for a couple more years, but that team is in desperate need of a quarterback. I believe that right now, we're also recording this before the second round of the college football playoffs. So it looks like that young quarterback from Indiana looks the Heisman winner, whose name
Fernando Mendoza.
Thank you. Yeah, Mendoza. Thank you. I don't know. I wanted to call him Fernandez, but I knew that wasn't right. So,
kind of combining them there a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. God. Remind me, there's a story I want to tell you after, which is sort of similar to this name. That seems to be the number one pick. I don't know about consensus. I mean, it's not like this is Peyton Manning coming out of college, but there's a good chance he might go number one. And Vegas sort of needs a number one pick. They're playing the Giants, who also are not very good, but they seem to have a quarterback in Jackson Dart, if he can actually stay on the field.
Yeah, if he stops running into brick walls known as defensive players.
Well, it doesn't help he's got a running back that actually likes to bang his head on things. So that could be another thing, but that's neither here nor there. Long story short, Crosby, when he asked about this, he was none too pleased. I don't care about that. I go out there to win. And that's something that you want from your top player. You want to hear that. If I'm a Raiders fan, I know my season's god awful, but I got Maxx Crosby. screw it, we want to win that game. Or maybe you're not, you're thinking about that number one pick. Maybe you're playing the 3D chess. Either way, the Raiders management informed him shortly after, yeah, we're shutting you down. Crosby then posts a bunch of stuff on his social medias showing that he's, I'm in good shape. I can go, I can move, I can do all sorts of things. I can do pretty much anything that you need me to do. So this leads us to an interesting conundrum. Crosby feels healthy enough to go, even though he has been nursing an injury all year, but he wants to play. He's been playing all year with the injuries he does have. And it's pretty clear that the Raiders don't want to play him because they want to lose. They want to lose this game. And this is not uncommon in football. I think the biggest thing for me, remember when Brian Flores did that racial discrimination lawsuit? In that lawsuit, which I thought was a much bigger deal, was Dolphins ownership asking him to tank, which essentially cuts his own value down. I think that's a far bigger lawsuit to me, but what do I know? I'm not a lawyer. Never played one on TV either. I could be wrong here, and I saw some other people suggest this. If they're doing this on purpose, can this not be investigated and could potentially the Raiders forfeit a number one pick or picks for this? I mean, you're deliberately trying to lose. If you're deliberately trying to lose a game, and I know in sports we see this all the time. Basketball a lot, although they've got a lottery system which doesn't guarantee you anything. And it's Dallas winning the number one pick. Hockey's got a lottery system. Baseball, I mean, it doesn't even really matter in baseball. I mean, like you find gems everywhere, up and down. Basketball, I get it more because a number one pick in a great draft, you like that draft of 2004, even though that had Carmelo Anthony, Chris Bosh, who else am I forgetting? But LeBron James, LeBron, Anthony, Bosh. Okay, it was those three guys. You know that you've got your superstar, but LeBron was going to be transcended, and he was. I hate this, and yet I get it. At the start of this season, it seems so long ago. I'm thinking, because I thought the Saints were going to be the worst team in the league. Here we are on a 4-game winning streak. What the hell? Maybe I got a quarterback. I didn't have any confidence in him, but he's playing relatively decent.
He's giving you something to think about.
If I don't have a top 10 quarterback, but maybe I've got a 15-ish, which, okay, it's better than what I thought he was going to be.
Better than half the league.
And it's 15-ish.
Yeah.
Right? So, and we were thinking, okay, Arch Manning. There was a great show, microphone, I believe, who was doing that's sort of what he thought that the Saints were playing 3D chess, trying to sort of like tank on purpose to get Arch Manning. And I guess that's not happening.
Yeah.
But I hate the fact that now Crosby doesn't want to be there anymore, and I don't blame him. And it's not because the Raiders are bad, it's because the Raiders asked him not to play even when they're bad. I want a Maxx Crosby on my team. I don't know about you, but
yeah, 100%. It's weird in that they just gave him a shitload of money to stay, and he took it.
Yep.
So in a way, he wants to be there.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, he wouldn't have taken the money. I can see a couple of different angles here. Obviously, the player, you want a player that's want to play through whatever they have to play through to win a game. That's the mindset you want in all your players. You want everybody to have that approach. But as we just mentioned, you just got a bunch of money, and for the Raiders, the argument could be made they're protecting their investment. They have beyond this year that they're looking at with him, and the injury obviously hasn't been enough to keep him from playing up to this point. So the asking to shut it down now at the end of the season kind of reminds me a little bit of the way baseball used to be when it was a a proper sport when you'd have the September call-ups. You'd sit some of your veterans, take a look at some of your rookie players that maybe guys that are on the roster next year. It could be a situation like that where they want to get some of their younger talent a little bit of a game run there. So as far as an investigation goes, he maybe you could see that, especially with him coming out and saying he doesn't want to, and the team saying, yeah, we're doing it anyways. But I think there's enough plausible deniability that is to intentionally lose games. I think there could be arguments made that are within a reasonable justification for asking him to take the last couple of games off and focus on 2026 here. But we'll see.
Well, and I think that's sort of like why I hate sort of the idea of that, because again, a LeBron, is going to come as delivered, and he's going to change everything. In hockey, Connor McDavid, they might not have won a Stanley Cup. Can you imagine them without him? At this point, it's near impossible. I believe Bedard is going to be something special. We haven't quite got there yet, but he's trending in that direction. But I thought I'd just sort of bring up and all the people watching. I know you're not doing this for this face, but now it's even worse because I got my Charles Nelson Riley reading glasses on. So since 1999, here are the number one quarterbacks taken, and we can see a mishmash of everything. And I guess this is my long way of saying, hey, just because you draft number one doesn't mean
no guarantees.
Yeah, the greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady, came in the 6th round.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 99, Tim Couch. Whoa. 2001, Michael Vick. I think he was like a lot better than people give him credit for, but we all sort of know what happened there. Carson Palmer, top 10 at best for a few years. Eli Manning, who we're going to talk about a little bit more. Alex Smith, sort of a bit of a lower Carson Palmer. Matthew Stafford, still active. Cam Newton. I like that. Andrew Luck, who just said screw it. Could have been potentially a Hall of Famer. Said, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. Jameis Winston.
Yeah. Still around.
He's still around. He's more of a punchline now. Seems like a great guy to hang out with. But that he's a typical Jameis Winston game is 4 touchdowns. Just 2 of them might be a pick 6. Jared Goff, Baker Mayfield, Kyler Murray, and we know Murray is not going to be probably with the Cardinals next year.
Yeah.
Bryce Young is turning it around.
Mm-hmm.
I thought too, and Trevor Lawrence we'll see, but I mean, we have a lot of people like all over the board. Ken Ward obviously is a work in progress.
Yeah.
I remember the Dolphins. I forget where he fell, but Tua Tagovailoa.
Mm-hmm.
He was. There's a lot of talk.
Take for Tua.
Take for Tua.
Yeah.
And now he's not. He's done. So I guess it's sort of like where I'm looking at this. Sometimes this stuff will sort of like bite you in your ass, but we'll see. And then I'm going to be watching that game on replay for sure. But it's an interesting thing. I wonder, I think they could have handled this so much better. Clearly, they want to talk to the guy.
Sure,
and get him on board, and they got some work to do because you don't want him leaving.
No, you just went through a list of quarterbacks there, and obviously, as I said, hits and misses all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
The one thing you do have, though, if you have the number 1 pick, is you have the number 1 pick. Whether you use it or not, that is, in football, that is the prize, the goal. Goal is not the right word, but in the draft part of football, it's
the compensation, and
exactly,
through the genius of United States Athletic Hall of Fame inductee Burt Bell.
There you go.
See the plug I did there?
There you go. Yeah. Exactly. Where's it going there? Oh, so the compensation, the value of that pick, whether you use it on a quarterback or you convince somebody else that they need to use it on a quarterback, can be franchise altering. So having that pick, it's better to have it than to be number two. Just the value does drop when you get to number two there.
Yeah, but I think sometimes when we're looking at these altering picks or these, I find that in sports, a lot of the time it's not necessarily a pick, it's those big giant trades. Like the biggest altering trade that I can think of, and I'm sure there's something I'm missing, but the Dallas Cowboys dynasty was built off the Herschel Walker trade.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado Avalanche was built off trading Eric Lindros and the ginormous haul they got on him. And Eric Lindros, as good as he was because of his concussion,
Hall of Famer,
was a disappointment.
Yeah,
you know,
well, nobody can really live up to some of the pre-pro hype that they received, and he was touted as the next Lindros, or not the next Lemieux, which is obviously such a high bar to put in front of a guy, and you know his size and talent and everything like that. He's a Hall of Famer, so he did have an outstanding career, but he didn't win a cup with Philadelphia after he forced a trade from Quebec there. So
no, and Philadelphia would have been better off if the Rangers made a better deal. Because if I remember correctly, it was between them and the Rangers going after Lindros.
I think it was Rangers wouldn't include Manny Malhotra or something like that.
Is that what?
That sticks in my mind for some reason.
That is the only time that name is ever going to come up at any discussion we ever have for the rest of our life. We will never mention Manny Malhotra again.
His eye injury probably costing the Canucks their cup back in 2011. I can make all sorts of comments.
It's just a name I haven't thought of in maybe for a decade.
Well, you know, it's like I said, there's reasons for my madness.
No, it's awesome. I love these deep dive conversations. It's like I wish I had the money to collect cards again. And like I wouldn't be trying to do cards just to like make money off it, because I don't understand a lot of that. I would just do it just for players that I remember that I got a kick out of. But yeah, it's an interest. Oh, those are the two things that though I remember, and that's just great general managers who can do so much more from that. Your scouting, obviously, you get your gems everywhere if you just know where to look.
Absolutely, that's what as you said, you know, you take a look. You know, is that one player worth it to you, or is the 3 players or 4 players that you're going to get in the trade a better build for your team? So
yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see how as we go from here. But yeah, I think also too, there's a lot more good quarterbacks that you can find almost every year. But that's just here nor there. Just that whole thing with Crosby. I'm not a Raiders guy, but man, I love that player. I mean, he would be the guy I'd want to build a defense around, or like one of 5 people I think of.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah.
Definitely the heartbeat of that team.
Well, as we're recording this, it's just December 30th, and this morning, the Pro Football Hall of Fame made their announcement as to the finalists, and there are a couple surprises I found that I really like. Nothing that I hated. There were a couple things that were minor. I can't say that I would have gone different ways personally, but I didn't expect it. So I can't get too angry being upset over something I didn't expect to happen. Looking at the quarterbacks, we have 2 that went through. Drew Brees, who we know should be an automatic lock. And I think before we go in there, I think there's some people who still don't understand how the Pro Football Hall of Fame is going to work, especially because they changed it. There are 15 finalists for the modern group, and they're going to cut it down within their conversations to 7. Once they get to 7, then at that point, the 50 voters will pick, I believe, three players. Is it 3?
For the
in the modern,
modern, it's
or is it
I thought
five?
it was five. I thought it was five votes in the modern and three for the
Right,
coach
right.
contributor
Yeah.
senior.
So yeah, you're right. So 5 out of 7, but you got to get 80%. That's pretty goddamn hard when you're setting it at 80%. And we saw that last year when only 3 people got through. And we don't even know if all 3 of them got 80%.
Right.
Not have.
The minimum is 3. And if the third player does not have 80%, it is the player with the highest total number of votes or selections, however they want to word it there.
So this makes it a lot harder. And it's especially hard because of the first player where I just mentioned, Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a first ballot Hall of Famer. I don't see how anyone can disagree with that. The only reason you're voting against him is you're trying to be strategic and hopefully get somebody else in. That's the only reason you're voting against him and another player who I'm going to mention.
Yeah, he should receive 50 votes.
He should. He absolutely should. Whether he does or doesn't, I don't know. Again, the only reason I can think of is somebody is thinking a little differently. Because last year, I don't think a lot of them even knew how this worked.
Yeah, there was some talk afterwards that there was definitely some confusion with some of the selectors. So
yeah, and shout out to our good friend Jack Silverstein, who online and it got credited by some of the actual voters for pointing out, hey, this is going to happen.
You know, he went right to the math, and the math didn't add up. There was no Steiner math this time. So
just for those wondering, just Google or just YouTube Steiner math. It's like it's one of the greatest wrestling promos that makes absolutely no sense and could never be replicated again.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we have Drew here, and this actually it hurts quarterback number 2, Eli Manning, who now is no longer, granted, this is only his second year on the ballot, but he's not the best quarterback on the ballot. I know some people are going to say he's got 2 Super Bowls. I don't care. He was not a better quarterback than Drew Brees. Nope. He wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think that's even debatable. The amount of wins and records and everything else with Brees compared to Manning, it really is night and day. Manning will have his day. It's not going to be in 2026.
He's getting in. Yeah, he's getting in. He's just not going to be a first ballot. He's not going to be a second ballot. And Phillip Rivers, I'm not sure how this worked. I wonder how many of those votes sort of to cut from semi to final took place before or after he made his return to the Indianapolis Colts. I don't know. I would imagine if it's after, that might enter your mind. It would enter mine. I wouldn't have put him through in this group yet anyway, but.
Well, if the votes took place after he announces or stepped back onto the field, he would have been removed from the ballot beforehand. So they would have known not to even bother with a vote for him. But that's why I think that a lot of this was either going on at the time, and maybe all his votes were just kind of swept aside, and they just number 16 moved up to number 15.
That could be. That very well could be. We don't know that for sure, but I think, with all due respect to Rivers, I don't think he was quite in that conversation yet anyway, and I don't think it held that much impact. The running backs this one's fascinating to me. Fred Taylor is not a finalist. He was a finalist the last few years. Frank Gore, like I think we suspected, has taken his spot. He's on his first year of eligibility. Gore has more rushing yards. He's third all time. I struggle with his candidacy. I've been very open about that. I don't know where to put a guy who was maybe in his top 5 in his position 1 year of his career, maybe 1, 2, maybe at best. But one I can make a strong case for. He's a compiler. but one hell of a compiler at a very tough position. Is he offensive Jim Marshall?
Um, that's an interesting comparison. I hadn't thought of it that way. Looking at his career, as you mentioned, he played a very tough position for on the body. I mean, the number of hits and contact that he absorbed through his career to be able to play 241 games at that level is pretty spectacular. He's one of the kind of the one that stood out to me looking at the careers here. Most of the players in this 15 either were with one team or played almost their entire career with one team and then had a farewell year, so to speak, with another team. Whereas Frank Gore was a little more of he bounced around a little bit. He primarily a 49er,
Yeah.
but the Bills, the Jets, the Dolphins in there. So a little more spread out on the back half of his career. Didn't just have the 1 year, but you kind of see this coming in the semifinalist.
Mhm.
And I'm fine with the selectors putting him at the front of the class here for the running backs. I think it's very likely that he would get bumped down again once AP comes onto the ballot too. So I think there's a clear pecking order between these guys here, that Taylor wasn't able to get a little bit more momentum when he was a finalist. I think kind of speaks to the level of his career in the eyes of the selectors. Frank Gore was a all-decade player too, so we got to kind of take that into consideration. He was considered one of the best for a longer period of time at that position. Compiler, okay, but to be able to do it for as long as he did it,
Yeah, no, absolutely.
you get it. I get it. So
Yeah,
I'm there.
I think this is obviously this is a very bad ballot and it bodes very poorly for Taylor moving forward because, as you said, Adrian Peterson's coming up.
Yep.
And he's not going to go in the same ballot as Peterson. That's not happening.
Yeah, no, I believe Peterson to be a first ballot guy, so I think he's one and in, but it does set everything back another year for the rest of the candidates there.
Yeah. So it's going to be a little bit harder. We'll see. We'll see. I was also seeing online there wasn't a whole lot of anger. I mean, just from a couple people, like a couple pundits rather, about Fred Taylor not making it through, but not a whole lot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you saw more than I did, but
No, just pretty much the one argument out there that I came across today, and I get it when you're kind of speaking to that fan base. You kind of got to stand up for your guy, and no problem with it. It's going to be a fun debate here for a little while, and we'll see where it ends up.
well, wide receiver, it's been backlogged since I've been paying attention.
Yeah.
Steve Smith Sr. and Hines Ward did not advance. I just want to point out that I said many years ago, Hines Ward is going to go 20 for 20. We're way there. 10 years now. 10 years, Hines Ward has made it to round one without making it, or to the semis without making it to the finals. And it's just going to get harder and harder and harder.
Yeah.
For him. Larry Fitzgerald, at least it should be the other one and done. I mentioned earlier that Drew Brees, if he's the 1A, Larry Fitzgerald is the 1B.
Yeah.
There is no reason he shouldn't also go 50 for 50. He's got everything you want. He's got the stats. The only thing he doesn't have is Super Bowl. That holds more weight for a quarterback than it does for any other position. But, Larry's also got that man of the year. People love the guy. Wait, he's a man of the year winner, isn't he? Or am I confusing with
No, I think you're correct.
Yeah, yes, okay, at 2016. Okay, yeah. All right. For a second there, I thought it was Bolden, but maybe he has one too. But either way, second all time, did not feel like a compiler to me. He was a top 5 wide receiver many, many, many seasons. This should be easy, but of course this hurts Torry Holt and Reggie Wayne. You talked about the
Mhm.
queue. Torry
Right.
Holt was a guaranteed finalist because he was a top seven finisher last year.
Right.
So that's also a new wrinkle that they added. So Holt, we knew Holt was going to be here. We also knew Holt again is not going to be the top wide receiver,
Mhm.
and he's our set. He's our guy with who's been a finalist the most times now. This is number 7,
Right.
and Reggie Wayne. I don't want to say outside looking in because stranger things have happened, but he's outside looking in. And this,
Yeah. Yeah. And I think we all agree that both Torrey Holt and Reggie Wayne are Hall of Fame wide receivers.
Mhm.
I think we also agree, though, that Larry Fitzgerald had the stronger career between the three.
Mhm.
I'm not worried yet about Torrey Holt. And this is his 12th year of eligibility, so he's over halfway through. But as you mentioned, he's been a finalist here how many times now? 7 times. Um, it, it's going to happen for him, and it's going to happen for Reggie Wayne too. I mean, also a 7-time finalist, just with fewer years of eligibility. So he's every year he's been eligible, he's been a finalist. So um, again, this kind of gets a little bit to the entire selection process, which got pared back recently, where one or both may have already advanced to and have been selected had they not made the change that they made.
Yeah,
So
Holt could have been one of those guys because we knew who the
absolutely,
top
because
7 were, and it could have been Holt. My guess it would have been. My guess is actually would have been Kuechly and Vinatieri, but
sure, I could definitely see that, but I could also see Kuechly taking a little bit of the James Willis path here, where he needs to wait at least a year or two. Um, he's
yeah,
not done anything on his own, but just kind of, we saw this just happen. It wouldn't be unusual to see something similar for him based on how similar their careers were. But yeah, it's there. Larry Fitzgerald definitely has earned his spot here. He belongs as a first ballot Hall of Famer. Um, but as you mentioned there, it's only going to get harder for Holton and Wayne with the setup unless it changes, and it's also going to be harder for the Steve Smiths, the Hines Wards, the Anquan Boldens out there with the
yeah.
players that are going to be coming up um, here with the way the game has changed and how some of these careers have stats have exploded here in recent years.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Tight ends. There's not much to talk about here. We knew Jason Witten was going to be a finalist in year 1.
Hmm.
Uh, I don't see him getting in right now, just because again the rules are making it so hard for him
Yeah.
to be one of the people chosen. Obviously, what works for him is Antonio Gates isn't there. He should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, but
Yeah.
he had to wait till year 2. Gronk, I believe, is up next year,
Yeah, I think so.
so he then falls behind Gronk, and anyway, Gronk's a 100th anniversary guy. That's it, done, end of discussion. So Witten, if he doesn't get in this year, he he could be like, this could go somewhere between like, wouldn't surprise me if it takes him 5 or 6, 7 tries. It really doesn't.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on how if they change the rules back or make some other alterations that
Yeah,
guarantee a little bit bigger classes here, because the guarantee of just three members, um, when you have two candidates here that likely should take up 100 of the available votes, that leaves 150 to be spread out amongst the remaining, I guess it'd be 7 candidates there. So it doesn't exactly help their cause, and I hate to see some crazy scenario where 11 selectors think, I'm going to be the smartest guy in the room here, and I'm going to take my vote for Larry Fitzgerald and I'm going to give it to Willie Anderson to try to get him over the line. And
happen.
and Willie or Larry Fitz finishes with only 39 votes and doesn't get, I don't want to see that happen. I want to see Fitzgerald get the 50 votes that he deserves. I hope the selectors are smart enough to not make that mistake.
Wouldn't that be fun if we sort of like knew who pulled a Mariano Rivera and had a perfect ballot? I would love that. That's something that's always going to piss me off. That not that Rivera went perfect, it's just that he's the first guy to go perfectly out of all the players that sort of existed before him. He's the first.
All right, I'm with you.
Whatever. What are you going to do? One more thought on Witten that I sort of had. If for whatever reason he lags a little longer, Kelce might be done. It wouldn't surprise me if Kelce hangs it up this year. And he's got a life outside of football. And I'm not just talking Taylor Swift. Obviously, that did open some doors.
Is he dating Taylor Swift?
Yeah. Apparently, they're a power couple.
Really? Since when?
Oh, well, I guess you didn't get an invite to the wedding. I did. But
I'm not a public figure like you, so
I'm not either. I was only for 3 months, remember?
three more than me.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so actually my wedding invite said it's only valid if I get back on the Google public figure list. So let's see what happens there. Pauline said my wife says she's got to be the +1, so sorry.
I understand. It's the right call.
Yeah. But what I was going to say, like, if Witten's still there, because now the tight end position has changed so much. And what Witten was doing back then, now granted, not every tight end back then was expected to catch.
A lot of blocking tight ends were still the primary focus there.
Absolutely. So like the Wittens, the Tony Gonzalez's, the
Antonio Gates,
they were the exception. They weren't the rule. Now a blocking tight end is. And eventually, I mean, like, what do you do with Kyle Juszczyk? It was added another Pro Bowl to a position that most teams don't even have.
Yeah, it's almost been eliminated.
What do you do with that? I think the times that he wasn't gone to the Pro Bowl, they didn't have a fullback Pro Bowler.
Yeah.
So
may end up like a situation like Steve Tasker, where you have all these accolades, but it just doesn't give him the weight that
you should, because
he carries with somebody else.
But he's there on every play. But anyway,
I get it. I'm not saying it's
all right.
But just kind of
I'm going off topic, but yeah. But right now, you expect, like, I think we're only a couple seasons away, and I didn't check, but I don't think we're there this year. Where we're probably gonna have like 5 tight ends with 1,000 yards at some point in the season. That would have been unthinkable. Like only 10 years ago.
Yeah, 18 game schedule will help that along.
Oh, sure. The 18 game schedule. That's coming.
Yeah, like I said, that's an extra game that's going to help it out.
Yeah. Oh, well. So yeah, Witten, it's going to be. He's going to get in. I just don't know when. Yeah. The linemen were the 3 we expected. 3 offensive linemen have advanced, and there's no surprises here. Willie Anderson, Jari Evans, Marshall Yanda. I think I'm pretty sure I said this on the show before, but I could have easily swapped out these 3 with the other 3 who have been waiting a lot longer. Steve Wisniewski, Richmond Webb, and Lomas Brown. Brown's a fascinating candidate because he finally got on the ballot after having 9 Pro Bowls. Richmond Webb has only 2 years left. And shout out to Richmond Webb, who when this came out, he just said congrats. He retweeted that I don't think it was from the Pro Hall of Fame. It might have been from Adam Schefter, but it doesn't matter. He just said congrats, guys, and because he's just a class guy. He's not going to say anything more than that. But now Steve Wisniewski, another 9-time Pro Bowler, who and this is just in a message that Ron sent me earlier, how things could have gone so much easily. Like if there wasn't a tuck rule, Wisniewski could have been could be a Super Bowl champion.
Yeah.
And that's sort of like a big reason why I find And I've called out Raiders fans directly to them, like, why do we not? How come we never talk more about Steve Wisniewski?
Mhm.
But he was not part of a Super Bowl winning team. But yeah, now he's in the senior pool.
Yeah, he fell into the abyss. Yeah,
Yep.
it's a shame because he had I think earlier in his 20 years he was a semifinalist or a finalist and just kind of fell off the radar until this year. And they finally brought him back, and a lot of times you'll get that player in the last year that they'll push through as a finalist just to have that conversation. We saw recently with Albert Lewis, somebody who wasn't on any radar, all of a sudden is a finalist and ended up being, I think, the sixth out of the five that were selected. So um yeah, that was kind of the only disappointment,
Well,
but not
that's what I was gonna.
unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I was gonna say. Like, my pleasant surprise is coming later, but I didn't expect it to go any other way. It just, that one tea leaf is going to switch. You just don't know which one it's going to be.
Yeah.
And there wasn't any reason to think it was going to go this particular way. Anderson was grandfathered in. He was one of the seven. So
Yep.
we knew he was going to be here. So these guys were really fighting for, I can't say two spots because you don't know how many spots it's going to be.
Mhm.
But Jari and Marshall were finalists last year.
Right.
And both of them have excellent resumes too.
100%. So you see here. Yeah, so Jari's got a little more time in the queue here than Marshall, but
Just 1 year.
they're both right there as far as being similar and dominant players at their position.
Right.
Which is nice to see the interior offensive line getting some attention here.
Well, I mean, you talk about sort of strategic voting, right? I mean, some people might think strategically, you know what? Okay, we know Larry's going to be here. Let's just clear off the wide receivers. Let's put Torry in here. The offensive line's almost as bogged down too.
Yeah,
Willie's your guy, and I might be thinking, look, maybe other people might be thinking the same. I feel like we're playing Survivor now more than actually the Hall of Fame, which is not a great way to think. I don't like that thinking at all. But hell, I run a mock Hall of Fame, and I know people already talk about that in our group, and that's only a small group of people, right? So you got to be a realist too. I mean, like, with all due respect to Willie Anderson, I don't even have him higher. I've got Jari and Yanda higher than him, and because we're basing a lot of this on a stat that's not true.
Yeah, there's a lot of talk, at least within our circle here, about the sacks allowed with Willie, and
We're not even dumping on Willie. Willie was a
no,
fantastic tackle, but
100%, but we haven't been able to back that stat up yet. So
Pierce Convoy is doing a phenomenal job on that, going through a lot of those.
Yeah,
Pierce and Brian, I know
Pierce
Brian,
for sure. I don't know. Yeah,
because they're going through a lot of old games, and every now and then we're going to get a little thing on our chat like, okay, just watch this game. Willie was great, or Willie no, he let in a sack here, and so he's already debunked a lot of it. But then it's not like any of us are saying that he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
No.
At this point, I mean, out of all these guards, I've got Yanda as the best, personally, with Wisniewski as my number two, but he's not there. So you can't vote on who's not there.
Right. Yeah.
Well, with that, we're moving to defense. And the thing that makes me happy, not as happy as our friend Evan Nolan. For those wondering where I'm going with that, Evan is the co-owner of the site and a diehard Patriots fan, but he's a bigger Kevin Williams fan. It almost feels like that's not true. He's a bigger Pats fan, of course. But Kevin Williams, it's here. He came out of nowhere, and which is shocking because he should not come out of nowhere. It's Kevin Williams, 5 first-team All-Pros. And in year 6, he becomes a semifinalist for the first time and a finalist for the first time. And he essentially leapfrogs 2 other guys who are great players. And the leapfrog is correct. And Robert Mathis and Vince Wilfork. Folk. I never pronounced that right.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 100%. That was the one name that stood out to me as far as seen that and be like, oh, hey, excellent. Glad he's finally here. He should have been here a long time ago. Um,
It's like they all remembered. Oh, wait a minute, there's this guy.
exactly. After retiring, he doesn't really have a presence on social media, so and he's kind of fallen a little bit out of the spotlight. But when his name comes up on these ballots, it should just be like, oh yeah, Kevin Williams, he belongs here.
Mhm.
And why wasn't he advanced sooner? Why do you have to wait 6 years to just make it to be a semifinalist? It's not like the players that he's been competing with at that position have been more dominant than he was.
God.
It's weird, but it was a happy sight this morning when his
Oh,
name was there.
it was great. It's corrected a wrong. I think it's now just a matter of time because he just jumped a queue, and we've seen people jump a queue, and you wonder how that happened. And
Yeah,
then,
who was the one a couple of years ago? Bryant Young.
oh, that was a weird one to me. Yeah,
But yeah, he just kind of again, somebody that just kind of popped up, and next thing you know, he's in.
no, absolutely. Like even ones like Alan Faneca, he got in eventually, but how did Steve Hutchinson get ahead of him?
Mhm.
I've always sort of like wondered, and I think Steve belongs in the Hall of Fame too. I just
Oh,
thought
100%.
Hanukkah was pretty damn close to a first ballot Hall of Fame, and I think he turned out to be fifth. I can't remember exactly, but
Yeah, it was a weird one, and that kind of falls in line a little bit with the interior offensive line, just not getting the respect that those players deserve there. Um, who's the guy from Kansas City that was a no-brainer that had to wait several years as well.
oh,
Guard, I'm slipping my mind right now, but center is just almost never recognized here. It's usually the tackle because of the
we're not talking Shields, are we?
Will Shields. Yes, there you go. Thank you. Um, so yeah, I think some of it has to do with the positioning, but on the opposite side of the line here, Kevin Williams, an interior guy,
Mhm.
maybe kind of fell behind, Jared Allen in that Minnesota defense there with Allen racking up the sacks, but doing it because Kevin Williams was taking up the
Yeah.
blockers for him. So, but yeah, all decade team for the 2000s, 6-time Pro Bowl, 5-time All Pro. Uh, Hell of a player, guy that I know Jeff and Jack have both said as Bears fans, he was the player on the Minnesota Vikings that they saw twice a year that scared the hell out of them. That
Yep.
they knew it, and same with me. Being a Green Bay guy here, you knew about Allen, but you also knew about the Williams brothers inside. Kevin was a dominant force, and we're all very happy to see him here where he should have been a couple years back.
Yeah, and that's what you just said there. It's a perfect segue to the two linebackers. Although we got two linebackers who were very, very different in what their roles were. So first one, Luke Kuechly, as a Saints fan, that's the guy who scared the shit out of me. Uh, Kuechly was that consummate defensive captain. He knew what you were going to do before you were going to do it. Defensive rookie of the year, defensive player of the year, and one of the seven who's grandfathered to come back.
Yep.
And someone who I thought should have been a first ballot Hall of Famer, and very well could have been had they not done what they did. Either way, he's up against somebody, well, not up against, but another great one, Terrell Suggs, another former defensive player of the year. This one more of a rusher, 139 sacks, 202 tackles for loss. I think that's my favorite stat that doesn't get enough play is the tackle for loss.
Yeah, it's kind of the why does the sack make the headlines, but the tackle for loss where it's another negative play doesn't.
Let's just let's see, STL. STL, that's our new OBP. No, OPS. I mean, OPS is like one of those things. Like when I've talked to some of the older time baseball players, like, yeah, there's all these stats are too far, but that one makes sense.
Mhm.
OPS is a great stat.
Yeah, it is. It tells a
ST,
lot.
Slut. That's the slut. I mixed up the letters, but what? Yeah, who's the biggest slut of the year? I like
Stifle.
the stifle.
Stuffles.
Ooh, Stuffle. There you go.
Tackle for loss. There you go. Stuffles.
And the winner.
Trademark.
Yeah. Okay. So you trademark that, and then the winner gets the Stuffaluppagus trophy. Brought to you by the Children's Television Workshop.
And the Rand Corporation.
So Kuechly and Suggs, again, they no doubt why they're here. Kuechly had to be here because he had to be, and Suggs, yeah, it's just a matter of time. Both of them on their ballot for their second time. Both of them were finalists last year.
Yeah, both of them future Hall of Famers. It's just a matter of when.
Absolutely. Here's one that fascinates me. Defensive back. We only have one. And the fascinating thing to me is that Rodney Harrison fell off. It's that Earl Thomas fell off. And the way Earl's career sort of ended off the field could be why. Doesn't help him, although he was a finalist last year. So it's not like he did something in the last 12 months that I'm aware of.
No, I haven't heard anything negative, positive, one way or the other with him. So
like he's not in a relationship with Cardi B, so nothing happened. Yeah, we'll be talking about that one tomorrow, huh? You think you didn't have an elevator down? Ah.
No, now I got to do research. I'm not really sure who Cardi B is. I've heard the name, but that's about it.
Because you're not as hip as I am.
I am not. I'm white bread here.
I'm just white on the no. There's no good that can come out of me finishing that sentence, so I won't. But Darren Woodson is here, and I Chris, I got a feeling.
I hope so.
I got a feeling. He wasn't in that top 7 last year, and I know that it's really, really hard, but he's the only one here in danger of falling off. It's year 18. Yeah. The closest one, as you mentioned earlier, is Torry Holt. But Holt doesn't feel in danger, even though he's in 12 or 13. He just doesn't feel like it feels like they're going to get 12. To 12. Okay.
Yeah, Willie Anderson's 13.
Willie's 13. Okay. But it feels like they're going to get to Holt eventually. And obviously, because they're both in the 7. So they're going to get to them both. Darren Woodson is the only defensive back here. This sets him apart. So he's very unique here. His time is running out. This is his 3rd time?
His 18th year of eligibility and his 4th time as a finalist.
Okay. So before all of this, if Thomas was here, I would have lowered his odds, but I think he's actually got maybe a 30% shot.
Yeah, I'm pulling for him. I like his career.
Yeah.
I think you made a great point there that he doesn't really have anybody that the selectors can compare to and say like, well, kind of between these two guys here, we're arguing, but he's the one. He's the only one on there that has his position covered, and I think you're right. It does help him. He's not going to be splitting votes with anybody there. Was he a top? He wasn't a 7.
No,
was he top? I think it was top 10 though, wasn't he? I think he was.
I don't remember.
I think him, Yanda, and Jari were. I
know Jari
8, 9, 10.
Well,
yeah, I think they were 8, 9, 10 last year. I'm not sure the exact order. So having one of those 3 jump up into the top 7 here, considering 3 fell out, would be not unexpected. You figure 2 are there with Brees and Fitz. So we'll see. I pulling for him. I think he belongs here. I don't want to see him fall into the abyss with the rest of the senior candidates, and hopefully this is his year.
And there might be some people on that committee thinking the same thing.
I hope so.
It's the only guy you can say that for.
Yeah.
So, and that leaves us with again someone who might have got in last year if it was the previous rule. Member of the 100th anniversary team, a place kicker that should have been probably a first ballot Hall of Famer, and that's Adam Vinatieri. We'll see. I mean, like, there's no reason to think he's going to do worse. We could see like 3 Patriots here.
Well, that's kind of where my mind was. I think they do the coach contributor senior voting first. So
Well,
if
they do it the same day.
they do it the same day, but I think they do those guys and then they finish up with the
Okay.
modern guys. So
Mhm.
you know, if the 2 other Patriots that you mentioned, Belichick and Robert Kraft, are already selected, you know, does that help or hurt or have any impact on Vinatieri's case there? So
I think because he split enough of his career with the Colts, you know, he can
he
sort
actually more time with the Colts than Patriots, but he has more Super Bowls with the Patriots.
oh, of course, right. And he sort of like he made his bones, you know, as a Patriot, but
Mhm.
you know, it's not like he's necessarily completely associated with one team.
No, no, for sure. He's even kind of evenly split there, but
Yeah, which can either help or hurt him, or maybe nothing, which isn't the worst thing, because maybe
no.
sometimes might be some bias towards, you know what, we're not going to do everything New England. We're not going to. I would like to think they wouldn't think that way when they're voting. I'm not that naive to think that some people in that room wouldn't think that way.
Yeah.
So that is who we have. We're not going to do a prediction right now, and I'm going to tell you why, because I didn't tell you this. So Jack called me today, Jack Silverstein, and here's what he wants to do. So if you remember, and those listening and watching might not know, but Chris definitely knows, we've done shows in the past where we've done sort of our mock call
Mhm.
and do that. But since we actually have a separate project that I do, the Pro Football Visit Project, and we're up to 1989, we are going to, and this was Jack's idea, and I love it. So we're going to put our committee together. We're going to try to get a little bit more people than we've had in the past. So maybe we can get like 15 to 20 people, which I think we can. We're going to like follow these rules and kind of just sort of like prove how hard it is to get into this damn thing.
Yeah, 40%, or I'm sorry, 80%, 40 votes with the actual selection committee is needed. You have 15 candidates here. Every one of them, I don't see a reason why they're not a Hall of Famer right now.
Mhm.
It's just a matter of when.
Yeah, so it's going to be sort of like really interesting. Sort of once we figure out when we're going to do that. Obviously, we're going to be doing that. We want to probably do that earlier in the new year because we would like to try to do this before they actually do theirs. Who knows? Maybe
Yes.
we'll have a little bit of influence. I don't know. We're gonna try. We're gonna try. But so look for that soon. Look for a lot of the other things here we do here at notinhalloffame.com. Chris and I, we record a show every month with the Elevator Show where we look at who made a Hall of Fame case for up and who made a Hall of Fame case down. Imagine, I wonder if we're going to do a deep dive on Stephon Diggs. I don't know. More stuff is coming out about that.
Yeah, that's somebody posted not a great day for the Diggs family.
It is not. It is not. Yeah, because his brother got cut
Yeah.
from Dallas today, which is an interesting thing to do when there's still a game left to be played. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Uh, I don't know. So there's that. We are in the process of getting our next class or our next ballot ready for the United States Athletic Hall of Fame. Yes. And we're going to be doing a lot more interviews. And sometimes, yes, Winnie the Mini Dachshund will be appearing. She likes to make her presence felt every now and then. Unfortunately, our fantasy football season is over, and the Seattle Mini Dachshunds, we didn't win. We finished third. You know what we get for third, Winnie? Nothing. Not a goddamn thing. We get nothing.
Hey, did you have more than one win
More than one win?
this season? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I finished third in the playoffs. So
I won 1 in 15 in my league, so
Oh, did you really? Well, if you want, maybe what would you trade for this GM? Because this is the one who did all the picks. What do you think?
Look, yeah, I got a couple dogs here. We can work on a deal.
Yeah, you got more than one dog?
We get to. Yeah.
Oh, I only ever hear about Buddy.
Well, Buddy hangs out in the room here with me. So Bumblebee, the actual dog name, Bumblebee.
Okay.
She's hanging out in the other room, waiting to watch some television.
Wife's dog?
Both of them are.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of dog's that?
Bumblebee's a terrier mix of some kind, but lab mix of some kind.
I thought it'd be a smaller dog, just with the name Bumblebee.
Yeah, a little bit smaller, yeah.
Okay. Well,
A little bit bigger than Winnie there, but not as big as Bud.
everyone's bigger than Winnie. But with that, this brings it to a close. So wherever you are, wherever you may be, make today count because it never comes again. Take care, everybody.
See ya.